Hello everyone, how are you guys doing today? I'm Star Wars Meg, here to give you another Mandalorian Season 2 update and to give you all of the news from a galaxy far, far away. Before I get into the video guys, please may I ask you to hit like down below, to hit the notification bell to be alerted every time I upload a new video, and also please consider becoming a patron of mine on Patreon. But without further ado, let's get into today's video. So our first news story is why the Mandalorian could be returning to Tatooine in Season 2. It's been very obvious from the promotional pictures and the trailer, and obviously the second poster that we got the other day, that Tatooine will play a significant role in the Mandalorian Season 2 in 25 days. But the question is why? The Mandalorian is returning to Tatooine in Season 2, and there's a few different things that could take the show there. While the first season of The Mandalorian primarily focused on its titular character and his journey being the accidental caretaker of a child who's from the same species as Jedi Master Yoda, it has also featured a string of references to the larger lore. This made it feel a part of the Star Wars franchise without being tethered to the Skywalkers or other prominent clans in the universe. It had cameos from familiar characters and paraphernalia, and they even visited familiar settings like Tatooine and Mos Eisley Cantina. Now that we've had a trailer and the first batch of images from The Mandalorian Season 2, it's been confirmed that as Din goes on his mission to reunite Baby Yoda with his people, they'll make a pit stop at the iconic desert planet once again. No indication has been given to what they could be doing there, but there are a few reasons to explain why the show will revisit the classic location. The rumoured involvement of Boba Fett and Tatooine gunslinger Cobb Vanth is the most obvious explanation for how The Mandalorian Season 2 will return to the home planet of the Skywalkers. After the fan favourite bounty hunter was last seen during the events of Star Wars The Return of the Jedi, falling down the Sarlacc pit in the desert planet after he was accidentally pushed by Han Solo. Since then he was believed to be dead, but that may not be the case. Meanwhile, Cobb Vanth will supposedly make his Star Wars live-action debut via the Disney Plus series. Reportedly played by the now confirmed Timothy Olyphant, the character debuted in Chuck Wendig's Aftermath novels and is a human and former slave based on Tatooine. He took it upon himself to become the protector of the newly formed Freetown while wearing a Mandalorian armor he acquired from an enemy syndicate, and word has it that the ensemble was Boba Fett's, retrieved after he was pushed down the Sarlacc pit. Aside from these possibilities, The Mandalorian Season 1's The Gunslinger also introduced sharpshooter Fennec Shand, played by Ming-Na Wen. It's unclear whether or not she's truly dead after Toro Calican shot her, but the outing ending with an unknown character walking towards her, implying that there's more to her story than her brief appearance. Perhaps it's either Boba Fett or Cobb Vanth who found her lying unconscious. It's also worth noting that there's also very little known about Fennec, including who she was working with. Maybe she's connected to Moff Gideon or any other group who's interested in Mando and the child. In any case, the lack of resolution with regard to the character can ultimately draw Din and Baby Yoda back to Tatooine. So while these are the most likely propositions as to why Din Djarin and the child will return to the desert planet of Tatooine, there have been other rumours stating that perhaps they're looking for Luke Skywalker, who trained there after Return of the Jedi, or perhaps they're looking for a settlement of retired clone troopers such as Commander Rex. We don't know if any of these rumours hold any weight, but like I say, we're going to find out in literally a few days' time. But let's be honest and state it's most likely due to Boba Fett or Fennec Shand. So before I return to The Mandalorian Season 2, we have to talk about a pretty significant piece of Star Wars news in general. This one comes from the Rogue One writer Gary Whitta, who teased big Star Wars news coming next week. Rogue One and Star Wars Rebels writer Gary Whitta took to his Twitter account to tease some upcoming Star Wars news. He stated, "Some news coming from a galaxy far, far away next week, stay tuned." This very vague piece of news has been spreading a lot online because a lot of Star Wars fans want to know if this is going to be news of an upcoming show, an upcoming movie, an upcoming book, upcoming comics. We just don't know, but it is really teasing us as Star Wars fans, and we do desperately want to know exactly what this guy is referring to and what's going to be released next week. And now we return to The Mandalorian Season 2, and this one is from Inverse, and it states, Mandalorian Season 2 can fix a massive Force Awakens Jedi plot hole. If we pretend that Star Wars movies and TV shows weren't filmed totally out of order and we were only concerned with the chronology of the stories, then we'd be watching The Mandalorian right after Return of the Jedi. The Ewoks would still be jamming about the death of the Emperor while Luke Skywalker readies to bring the flame of the Jedi back to life. The thing is, almost nothing about what you imagine the galaxy will be like post-Return of the Jedi matches up with Season 1 of The Mandalorian. Furthermore, we know that in The Force Awakens, the Jedi still haven't returned 3 decades after they were supposed to. So what's up with the Jedi between the original trilogy and the sequels? It seems like it's up to The Mandalorian Season 2 to answer that question. For the Skywalker saga purist, the answer to the question just posed is simple. Luke tried to bring back the Jedi Order, but Ben Solo turned to the dark side and ruined all of it. But Luke's Jedi Temple was destroyed by Ben Solo in 28 ABY, roughly 6 years before the events of The Force Awakens. If we assume that only Jedi in the galaxy were connected to Luke Skywalker, that means from 4 ABY to 9 ABY and all of the way through to 20 ABY, there just weren't any Jedi at all, but we already know that that's not true. We do know for certain that the Jedi didn't formally return until Luke started up his school, but what about before that? Season 1 of The Mandalorian has already made it clear that someone like Djarin is only vaguely aware of the Jedi. The reason he doesn't know anything about these so-called enemy sorcerers could be chalked up to the fact that he was raised by other Mandalorians, but it feels like something he would have come across once or twice in his life. But the fact is, Mando doesn't know anything about Jedi, which suggests a lot of people in the galaxy don't know either. How can this be the case? So this is the question that The Mandalorian Season 2 must answer. Even if Mando himself isn't privy to the larger politics of the galaxy, there must be some reason why, even after the victory of the Rebel Alliance, the Jedi are still relegated to the myth and legends. In A New Hope, Motti says Vader has sad devotion to that ancient religion, even though the Jedi were active and numerous when Motti was a teenager. The point is, historical records in the Star Wars galaxy are absolute garbage, and the Emperor's anti-Jedi propaganda was very effective. But if certain Force users did survive like Baby Yoda and Ahsoka, the question is, why were they still in the shadows after the fall of the Empire? This is something that we must let sink in. The Republic holds power during the time of The Mandalorian, yet the remnants of the Empire are still around, and your average person still doesn't seem to really take the concept of the Jedi seriously. But why? The answer might be connected to the Darksaber and to Moff Gideon. Both the Client and Moff Gideon work for what's left of the Empire, and they want Baby Yoda desperately. We could surmise that the reason is simple. The Imperial Remnant knows more about the Jedi than your average Republic citizen, and that's because they were the guys who systematically removed knowledge of the Jedi from the public consciousness. Part of this was because the Empire killed off all the Jedi, but it also very clearly is through propaganda and control of information. Think about how ill-informed Luke was about the actual Clone Wars in A New Hope. Fast forward to how little Rey understands about the rebellion against the Empire in Episode 7. Time after time, recent history is totally misunderstood by citizens of the Star Wars galaxy, and part of that is because the bad guys were always writing the history books. In The Force Awakens, Kylo mentions that part of the map he needs comes from the archives of the Empire. The Empire has lots of archives. They know everything. Meanwhile, Luke Skywalker and Lando were running around on random planets trying to find clues about Sith daggers. The Republic, along with Luke, are what remain of the Jedi, and they're running around like Indiana Jones with an incomplete map. Meanwhile, the Empire, soon to become the First Order, has all of the information. Since Moff Gideon is rocking the one and only Mandalorian lightsaber, he probably knows way more about Baby Yoda's origins than anyone else, and that's what makes Season 2 fascinating. That is, he knows more than anyone else we've met during the events of The Mandalorian. If characters like Sabine Wren and Ahsoka really do return in Season 2, then what they bring to the table is more than fan service. They will supply the heroes of the story with something the villains always seem to have more of in Star Wars: information. So that is all I have for you guys today. I really hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, please give me a big fat thumbs up down below, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and also please consider becoming a patron of mine on Patreon. And I will see you tomorrow. I'm Star Wars Meg. Have a fantastic rest of the day, no matter where you dwell in the galaxy. Have a good one.